Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and I'm getting ready to build a new woodshed right behind me. What I want to accomplish today is squaring up exactly where that building is going to sit and drilling all of the holes that are going to hold our main support post. I've already done one thing wrong, which is I've drilled the first 2 holes, which doesn't hurt anything, but ideally you would start off by marking out all of your locations first. What I did was I dug a flat pad that's bigger than the building, and then I put 1 post hole in each corner. The first 2 post holes cannot be put in and out of square unless you're lining up with something else. I'm out in a field quite a ways away from my other building. There's no getting off out of alignment with the first 2 holes. So I've got those 2 dug. I've driven a post into that corner and this corner. Now we're going to tie a string between them and get an exact measurement. I don't need to drive these in too far. It's just holding the string. There's always multiple ways of doing the same thing. If you have a way you would prefer to do this over what I show, let me know what it is. All right, took me a minute to find the end of it, but now I'm just going to tie a string on here. My target was 33 feet. We are 33 feet. So we've established that the building length is what I wanted it to be, 33 feet. Now it's going to be 12 feet the other way. The next step is to do a simple math equation to find out how long a diagonal is. Because no matter, there's a lot of different methods for squaring it up, but they all depend on that basic formula for figuring out the diagonal of a right angle triangle. So if this is 90 degrees here, which any square building is obviously 90 degrees, then the length of this wall squared, the length of this wall squared will tell you the length of the diagonal. I'm going to do that math real quick by taking 33 times 33 plus 12 times 12, and then taking the square root of that number. And if you don't even want to do the math for that, there's little calculators online that'll do it for you. So 35 feet and 1 3/8 of an inch should be our diagonal measurement. So we've established that our corner on this side has to be 35 feet, 1 3/8 of an inch from that post. I'm going to take my string that is 35 feet, 1 3/8 of an inch, and hold it on the bottom center of this can, this inverted marking can. I'm going to walk along, and wherever this string reaches, I'm going to paint my arc. The last time I did this was for the Quonset hut, and on that, we measured our lengthways and we guessed at square, and then we took a tape measure and measured diagonal, and then we measured the other diagonal, and then we did it again, and then we did it again, and each time we would just move it and do it again until we got the same number each time. But it got a little confusing. Do we move that one? Do we move this one? And it seems like, well, that might be easier than messing with these strings, but it's really not. So now what we would do is take this and draw an arc from here at 12 feet, and wherever 12 feet crosses the other arc has to be it. And I was planning to paint that other arc. You would paint like this, but honestly, my tape measure crosses that right here. So this is the spot. So I guess what I'm saying is the strings aren't even really necessary, but you can take this and hold your tape measure at it. So now just using the tape measure, we have 1 arc here and 1 arc here. Where they meet should be square. So we're going to drive a post right here. So now we have this post marked for this corner of the building. I'm going to do the same thing for that corner, measuring off this post. And the way you know you did it right is when you're done, if the measurement between those two is 33 feet, then you know you've got a square. Okay, we've got our 35 1 3/8 mark. And then we have a 12-foot mark. That X right there should mark our next corner. So we know this is 33. We know this is 12. We know that's 12. If the other side comes out to 33, we have a square. We have a square building, which is a rectangle. This is the moment of truth. If this isn't right, I just look dumb. That is 33 feet and 3/4 of an inch. All right, so that worked. Now I need to run a string down those two and measure down them to set my in-between post, because this is going to have 3 bays in it. There was a bunch of conversation about equal size bays or varying bay sizes, and I decided to vary the sizes of the bays on purpose because I was thinking you can ultimately just keep saying bigger, bigger, bigger. You know, I could make it 100 foot by 60 feet, heated and cooled with multiple bay doors, and this is just a shed. So within the idea of keeping it small, I've got more versatility if one bay is longer and one's shorter. I sometimes mill 8-foot lumber, so I'm going to have one bay that's 9 foot and will hold that 8-foot lumber. So I've got a 9 and 11 and 13 actually gives me one bay that's longer than any of them would be if I made them all the same. So I'll have one bigger bay and 2 smaller bays, and it's going to be an open air. I think it's what I want to do. So now I need to measure down from this end, go to 9 and then 20. See, as I go down, I need to back up, right? That's what I've been doing. Just as I go down, I automatically back up a little bit. But it's a guess as to how much. It's hard to run on that hill. I'm going to go uphill from it, because when it starts to dig, the machine tips. Yeah. Trying to see if the edge of the rock will break off. This one here we had trouble with, and I think the hole might have moved over 4 or 5 inches. I haven't actually measured it to be sure, but there's a rock about a foot down that when the auger was hitting that rock, it was lifting an area out about 2 feet. There's an enormous rock right here, and I didn't want to dig it out. So I just kept working through it, and I think it broke the sides of it off right here. So now we've got 8 holes dug. The next step will be setting the post and getting them concreted in and getting them perfectly straight up and down. And then we're really rocking and rolling. So it's progress today. I always like to make a little bit of progress every day. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.